Hello. It's been. Wait, how long has it been since my last upload?
Oh man. Oh god. Oh man.
I'm back with another Nuzlocke I attempted. Following the success of my last Rhino ROM hack, Fire Red Omega, I took on his next creation, Sacred Gold. This ROM hack has much more extensive changes made to the baseline game Heart Gold, including modified Pokemon stats, types, learn sets, mainline story changes, and player routing to add a bit more linearity to the Johto region. Like most ROM hacks, Sacred Gold gives the player access to all available Gen 4 Pokemon throughout the game. As what I hope to be typical for this challenge, I attempted to beat this game using hardcore Nuzlocke Ruleset, as seen on the screen now, and for a bit of extra challenge, I decided to play without giving any of my Pokemon effort values, or EVs. We'll explain more about that later, but for now, let's move on from this intro and get into my attempt at hardcore Nuzlocking Sacred Gold. I start off in New Barktown, and the changes are noticed immediately when my mom gives me access to the running shoes and the bicycle. It's also apparent when I choose my starter Cyndaquil that has the ability Flash Fire instead of Blaze. He still could have had Blaze, but luckily I won the ability Coin Flip. The Old Man in Cherry Grove gives me an Old Rod now, so I can easily get some early fishing encounters instead of the grass if I wanted to. The next welcome addition to Sacred Gold is Cynthia appearing in front of Elm's house to give us our second encounter, Eevee. This quirky guy is incredibly versatile as we will get access to all forms of Eevee in this generation to choose from early on. Our rival battle is nothing special, as we easily defeat his single Totodile with a few tackles. We name our rival the eternal enemy of all content creators, and after Lyra knowing that we are an adult and don't need a tutorial, gives us some Pokeballs to officially start the run. Our first encounter on Route 29 is a Zigzagoon, following up by putting the Old Rod to good use and fishing a Shell Armor Corefish from Cherry Grove City. Route 46 gives me a minus attack nature Sparrow. Sad. In Sacred Gold, the average trainers are not incredibly buffed as they are in other games like Run and Bun, as Drano likes to put the difficulty spikes on gym leaders and evil team admins instead. The early game encounter catching spree continues with me catching a Bellsprout, a gift Charmander from the Strange Man in the Poké Center, the Primo Egg, will be a surprise for later, Zubat from Dark Cave, and a Ghastly on the second floor of Sprout Tower. Now, an early game wouldn't be complete without me underestimating the trainers and making a stupid ass mistake. While ascending Sprout Tower and beating up all the sages, I was too cocky and needed some extra money, so decided to fight against the optional trainer Sage Troy. Abra was easy, but when Hoot came out I thought Zigzagoon can 1v1 the owl. I kept him in too long and without him waking up, got crit by an air cutter and died. I think it's commonplace for me now to lose a Pokemon early on because the game hasn't humbled me yet. Rest in peace, my little raccoon. Once Elder Lee is defeated, I can now choose which evolution I want, as he will provide the stone to let me evolve him before the first gym. I take the Sacred Gold standard by choosing Glaceon, a fantastic counter to Falkner's flying types, as well as a Pokemon I never really used in the mainline games. Before I take on Falkner, let me give some pro Nuzlocke tips for all you young Nuzlockers out there. While playing these ROM hacks, which have changed stat distributions, new abilities, and new movesets, don't use PK Hex, use PK Hacks for edging your team, checking IVs, and even removing EVs. PK Hex will revert any changes back to the mainline game standard, while PK Hacks will not. If you want more information, check out the tools FAQ and a ton of YouTube tutorials online of how to use it. Now, time to face off against Falkner, showcasing the power of having an early ice type. Glaceon hits every Icy Wind for a one-hit KO against Falkner's birds, and the ones that outspeed Glaceon have no way of dealing any damage that would take Glaceon out. To be clear, Icy Wind is still 95% accurate in this game, but I never get punished. First gym badge of Sacred Gold, now obtained. I get my second egg from the Pokemart after obtaining the first gym badge.
I offer you a nice egg in this trying time.
Then, I rock smash in the rooms of Alph for a Geodude, followed by the long grind of rock smashing the rocks for shards to trade for berries in front of the Pokemon Center. I can sell them for infinite money later on to avoid as many optionals as possible. Another pro Nuzlocker tip from yours truly. On the way to Azalea Town, a hop-up joins our team, and once again, I lose another team member to an optional trainer. I left my already pre-damaged Bellsprout in on a Remoraid that froze him to death with an Aurora Beam. I was facing these guys to make a little extra money in between shard grinding and thought, hey, Bellsprout is a grass type. These are water types. This is free. This was not free. However, after my idiotic mistake, I decided to rappel in Union Cave to get to the basement floor 1 to try my luck at some god tier encounters, and the universe gave me something incredible.
Oh my god!
To be clear, this Gibble is a 5% encounter and knows Dragon Rage, so if this Quick Ball doesn't catch, things can turn bad very quickly. But it doesn't matter because the Quick Ball works. This Gibble even has a plus speed nature and an attack IV of 31, making her even more deadly. Once she evolves, of course. Now, here's a brief lesson in EV versus IV, as 31 IV might not mean much to you. All Pokemon have randomly assigned IVs, or individual values, once caught, which modify the Pokemon's individual stats, with 0 being the worst value and 31 being the best. In early games, IVs cannot be modified once a Pokemon is caught. EVs, or effort values, are gained through battle or vitamins, which can add to any of a Pokemon's stats up to 252, with a total EV cap for the Pokemon of 510. Different Pokemon battled will give different EVs, meaning I should be careful about which Pokemon I battle against to maximize my team's EVs in a certain battle, but EVs can be removed by using berries in Gen 4. I use those berries constantly to keep my team's EVs at 0 before every boss or gym battle, as EVs greatly power up a Pokemon's power that makes the game somewhat boring. Just another bit of information for anyone interested. Other encounters to add to the team is Apom outside of Azalea Town, the Gift Mudkip in Azalea Town Pokemon Center, and a Shellos in Slowpoke Well. Like in the mainline games, Team Rocket is back at Slowpoke Well taking the tails of Slowpokes for whatever reason, and I, another young child, must stop them. After clearing out the grunts, I must face the first of many Team Rocket boss battles, Executive Proton. Proton has a gimmick team with Toxic Setters and a Coughing and Voltorb that each know self-destruct. I lead with Glaceon thinking Cacnea is the lead, but instead it's Voltorb. I immediately switch to Geodude on a Toxic, and then to Ghastly on what I think is a Boom, but instead just a Screech. Marshtomp is good to take a Spark, but instead it's just another Screech. I guess the AI likes spamming these stat reducing moves if no kill is seen. I finally decide to attack the Voltorb with Ghastly. That brings it to the red as Ghastly takes a Spark. To guarantee a boom, I can now switch to Marshtomp on a Spark and then back to Ghastly as it finally booms on my Ghost type. Cacnea comes in, but Glaceon can easily take the kill with an Icy Wind. Coughing, the second boomer, comes in. Charmeleon can take a Flamethrower, but instead just gets poisoned by a Toxic. A single Dragon Rage takes him into Boom range, but a crit Sludge Bomb also means a random move into whatever I switch into. Marshtomp is the best answer as it can resist most of Coughing's moves and then outspeed to take the KO. Zubat is last, but with a healthy Pharaoh in the back, it's an easy finish with Aerial Ace. Pretty easy battle, but these boss battles start to ramp up very quickly. The second gym leader, Bugsy, is widely known as the gatekeeper of early Sacred Gold, as his team consists of mostly fully evolved or single stage Pokemon. The signature Scyther with Swords Dance, U-Turn, and Wing Attack is back and as deadly as ever, since Scyther now has Technician as the ability to boost the move's power even more. Luckily, bug types have a load of weaknesses that I can exploit. Bugsy leads with Butterfree and I lead with Pharaoh. Pharaoh one-hit KOs the Butterfree with an Aerial Ace. Yanma comes in next as it has Ancient Power, but Pharaoh can once again outspeed and get the clean KO. Since no other Mon in Bugsy's party has a super effective move against Pharaoh, the AI goes into stage 2 calculation to send in Beedrill next. There is a really good video by Flygon HG that goes over in good detail about how the switch in logic of Gen 4 works that I recommend you watch if you're doing these types of hardcore Nuzlocks. Now that Beedrill is out, Pharaoh can continue the sweep and take it out with another Aerial Ace. Scyther comes in next, which is much scarier. It survives an Aerial Ace low enough to proc Citrus Berry and go for its Swords Dance. My estimation is another Aerial Ace at this HP won't kill Scyther, so I need to somehow force it to use U-Turn to remove the Swords Dance buff. The cleanest way is to go into Geodude on a Wing Attack, that damage was resisted by the way, then back into Pharaoh on a more powerful U-Turn. Heracross comes in luckily, and Pharaoh can once again take a clean KO. Pinsir comes in, and since Pharaoh can't KO, I decide to bring in Marshtomp to put her to sleep, then bring Pharaoh back in to reduce the total amount of damage taken from the Pinsir and KO with 2 Aerial Aces. Scyther comes back in as Bugsy's last mon, but now without the Swords Dance boost, Bugsy would need a crit to be able to take Pharaoh out after an Aerial Ace. I really should not call out no crit, as I'm just taunting the universe to do it anyways. It sucks because Pharaoh had a few buffs and would have been cool to use later on, but I also realized that I don't think Pharaoh is useful after this gym, so nothing terrible has been lost. Glaceon can come in on the heel turn and then use 2 Icy Winds to finish the fight and receive the second gym badge. Leaving Bugsy with only 1 death is unfortunate, but now I have some more knowledge of how the AI chooses moves, which is much more valuable. Shortly after Bugsy's gym is the usual rival battle, but that was no problem at all, barely an inconvenience. I don't think our rival is going to be tough anytime soon. In Ilex Forest, my luck continues and I get the 5% Beedrill as well. What's unlucky is the minus attack nature, as Beedrill did get buffed attack and speed in this game. I'm also obliged to tell you that Gardenia is in this forest doing nothing wrong, and if you think otherwise, then well, shame on you. Arriving in Goldenrod, there is a ton of things to get done. I immediately get my last gifted starter mon, Chimchar, which is easily the best starter I have received thus far. A plus special attacking nature and the Iron Fist ability makes Ape the best mixed attacker I have thus far, knowing how good Infernape will be. I can also hatch one of the eggs in the GTS Center, as apparently it is its own separate location. A Togepi comes out of the egg, who will be a great support mon as Togetic and especially Togekiss. A Drowsy from Route 34 in this game is nothing special and will spend most of its time in the box. Same goes for the Yanma on Route 35 I catch. With a ton of cash to burn, I take the time to buy all the items I need in the department store, as well as buy the coins I need for the TMs in the game corner. No way I'm going to grind Voltorb Flip, no matter how fun it may be. The real surprise is the Lyra battle before entering the tunnels under Goldenrod. I knew of this battle but wasn't sure when it would trigger, so I luckily had a good team on me when the fight began. Nidorina is her lead, and I immediately switched to Geodude on the incoming Thunder. She misses a Blizzard, and I low roll the magnitude for not even half. Glaceon can come in and clean up with an Ice Beam. Next is her ace Ninetales, who can easily sweep by hitting hard flamethrowers and ominous winds. Luckily, Kolava is Flash Fire and can help stall. She sets up Safeguard as I play the long game and go for Smokescreen. Her next move, Confuse Ray, immediately pays off as Kolava hits himself in confusion. The previous Smokescreen immediately pays off with an ominous wind miss, and he snaps out of confusion to hit another Smokescreen. I tried baiting Ominous Wind by going Crobat, but instead just another Confuse Ray. This stalling happens for a bit to continue lowering Ninetales' accuracy and essentially PP stalling her. Once she is at -6 accuracy, I see if Quick Attack can do any damage to her, but clearly it's going to take some time. I chip away at her, even causing her to consume her Citrus, only switching once Kolava gets crit by an Ominous Wind. Crobat can finish with a Wing Attack once Ninetales was in the yellow to end this miserable threat. Meryl comes in third and tries to Blizzard Crobat, but it doesn't do much damage against her, especially since Roost will take away her flying type, reducing even more damage. Once Meryl can't use Blizzard, a second Wing Attack will finish off the Blue Mouse, and one more for the Roselia, putting an end to the surprise fight. No, Lyra, this wasn't fun when you jumped me in the Goldenrod tunnels. What is this, New York? Looking at Whitney's team, the main issue is that all her Pokemon need the same answer to be bested, a fighting type. Luckily, I have the newly evolved Monferno to help in this, but I also need a good fighting type move. I have Drain Punch TMs from the Goldenrod City Floor 6 Daily Drawing Corner, but Drayano decided not to allow the Chimchar line to learn Drain Punch. Why must you do this, Drayano?
We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
So instead of Drain Punch, I must use a slightly buffed to 60 base power, but still not nearly as effective Rock Smash instead. Ideally, this will be enough to clear most of Whitney's team. She leads with Lickitung, while I lead with Geodude. Geodude is just to bait a Power Whip from Lickitung into Togetic, as Togetic is faster and locks her into Power Whip with an Encore. I can now switch into Monferno, who can take Power Whips with ease and set up 2 Swords Dances. From here, Monferno will outspeed and one-hit KO every single one of her teammates, even after a Stantler Intimidate. Due to the switch in AI, the Pokemon that comes out last is her ace Miltank. This Miltank was such a threat in the mainline games, Drayano didn't even make much change to her moveset here. Unfortunately, Monferno does not outspeed and is at risk to a crit, so I must now switch out to Geodude, who can whittle her down with Rock Blasts and Digs, causing her to use up her Super Potion. Once Geodude gets low, I have to switch once more, and the one who has the best shot is Glaceon with Ice Beam. Only issue is, he is slower than this cow, so I'm risking a lot here. Glaceon comes in on a Body Slam that doesn't crit or paralyze, but he has to dodge one more here. Miltank goes for Body Slam again, and this time it does paralyze. As long as Glaceon doesn't fully paralyze his turn, we are home free. He breaks through the paralysis to land the Ice Beam that puts an end to Whitney's Miltank and gets us the 3rd gym badge. The power of setup sweepers. I'll be sure to keep an eye out for more enemy team mons that I can set up on. If it does get too easy or boring, then maybe I'll ban the use of them. But since this is my first attempt at this ROM hack, in general, I'm using all that Drayano has given me to its fullest. On my way to Ecruteak, I catch another underwhelming encounter, Sunkern, in National Park. I also catch a static Pseudo-Voodoo blocking the path and hatch the Primo Egg into a Mareep in Radio Tower. To be clear, the unique encounter is based on met or hatch location, so I can receive an egg in one place, but what matters is where I hatch it. The last notable encounter this time around is Duskull from Burn Tower. It's also worth mentioning is like any typical ROM hack, there are a ton of available Pokemon in this game, and not all of them will leave the box. I'll cover the more notable ones from here on out, as my box is looking pretty capable at this point in the game. The default rival fight in Burn Tower was no threat, as Algorithm's team is fairly weak at this point in the game. I continued the I continued the Ice Q&A storyline by shooing the dogs away from the tower before playing for Morty's gym. Surprisingly, Morty doesn't look so bad compared to Whitney or Bugsy, as most of his team is still unevolved. It is one of the weaker points of Gen 2 games, as the level curve has to stay relatively low due to the Kanto gyms after beating the Elite Four. The main threat is still Morty's Gengar, with a plus special attack boosting nature and one hell of a cracked moveset for type coverage. I devised a plan that should put me in position for another setup sweep, but it will depend on what Morty actually selects for a move. Morty leads with his Duskull, and I lead with Haunter. I'm hoping to bait a Shadow Sneak, as that is his highest damage, so that when Togetic switches in, I can Encore it. Shadow Ball is used instead, but that's okay. The main priority is to lock it into an attacking move and not Will-O-Wisp. As I click Encore, Morty does a rare AI switch from Duskull into Shuppet. This is strange, but I guess when the AI has no non-immune moves, and there is a Mon with a super effective move in the back, it has the ability to switch out. Good to know, but now I have to steer a bit to get back on track. Shuppet will most likely go for an Icy Wind into Togetic, so I bring in Glaceon. Instead, the AI pulls a switcheroo and goes for Swagger instead, causing me to waste my Lumberry to remove the confusion. Alright, not terrible yet, but I can't keep switching on what appears to be random moves. I decide to one-hit KO the Shuppet with an Ice Beam to bring the Duskull back out. I once again hard switch back to Togetic on the Shadow Ball, but now I know Morty will switch out this turn. I need to keep tempo, so as Duskull gets switched out for Misdreavus, I have Togetic fire off a Flamethrower to do some damage and get the burn as well. Hoping not to take too much damage from the Power Gem, I switch Marshtomp in, but once again I get outplayed and get hit by a Will-O-Wisp, burning another Lumberry. Now, in the moment as I was steering around, I make a stupid move of clicking Yawn into the already burned Misdreavus. I was just too focused on the HP ranges and trying to get back some momentum that status was lost on me. Luckily, only a mean look comes out, but now Marshtomp has to 1v1 this fight. Luckily, a Shadow Ball doesn't crit and a single Surf at this HP takes her down. Could have avoided the damage as a whole, but oh well. In comes his ace, Gengar. It's most definitely going for Giga Drain this time, right? Switching into Crobat, I am correct, and she quad resists it. Now, Gengar knows Thunderbolt, but it doesn't 2-hit KO, and since Crobat has Roost, she can just easily heal back up if need be, and remove the electric weakness. Crobat is also faster and can 2-hit KO Gengar with Bite. I go for the Bite first, bringing him down to half, but forget that he has a Citrus Berry, making this a 3-hit KO instead. But it doesn't matter because Crobat gets a flinch. I have no other options but to Bite again. Gengar is put into the red, and Gengar flinches again. After a heal turn by Morty, Crobat can successfully take down the Gengar with 2 more bites. What an amazing Pokemon she is. Haunter comes out and after a bite puts him into the red, so he goes for a Hypnosis, but our Lumberry wakes her up. Duskull once again comes back out, so I do the tried and true switch into Togetic to force the switch. Sableye is Morty's last Mon, but the Flamethrower from Togetic nerfs him with another burn. One charm will neuter Sableye as I click Wish, then switch into Beedrill, the one I was planning to do a Swords Dance sweep with in the first place. The Wish heals Beedrill back up to full, and then with one Swords Dance, Beedrill can finish off the Sableye and Duskull, winning us the 4th gym badge. With more gym badges than deaths, and more knowledge of the AI in this game, I keep pushing ahead to what may be one of the harder sections of Sacred Gold. After Morty, the game opens up significantly, as I now have access to the HM for Surf. This immediately allows me to surf for a Poliwag in Ecruteak City with Water Absorb, a fantastic ability for hardcore Nuzlocks. The Doduo I catch on Route 38 is nothing special, but she'll be my designated flying Mon once I get access to it, so figure to be worth mentioning here. The much better encounter is a Staryu I fish up on Route 40, with a decent minus attack nature as well. My fishing streak continues by getting the obligatory Magikarp in the small patch of water in Olivine City. Welcome once again, Nunquorn. After clearing the Lighthouse of Trainers to talk to Jasmine about the sick Ampharos, I make my way to Cianwood City to take on the fighting gym leader Chuck. It's in Chuck's gym that I make another stupid mistake. See this guy? He is completely optional, as those buttons in the back are not needed to be able to fight Chuck. But I forgot that. In the gym, my Crobat was clearing through the trainers easily as I sped my way through, and that's when this happened. In case you didn't catch it, Crobat was intimidated by Hitmontop, Wing Attack failed to one-hit KO, then the Hitmontop used Counter to obliterate him out of the sky. My best flying Mon, quad-resisting fighting moves, KO'd right before the fighting gym. To an optional trainer.
Watch this, Lise. You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half. And now!
Well, without Crobat, this Chuck fight got a lot harder, but my box is looking pretty stacked, so I think that it evens out. Chuck leads with his Primeape, and I lead with Starmie. Using my only Psychic TM at this point in the game on Starmie, and giving it a Twisted Spoon, allows me to one-hit KO the Ape, then chain kill the Breloom and Hitmonchan that follow. His Ace Poliwrath is too bulky to be taken down by a single Psychic, so I set up a substitute to reduce chances of Surf critical hits. One Surf doesn't break the sub, and Starmie's Psychic puts him into the red. A second Surf does break sub, but not even a Citrus can save him from taking another Psychic. Hariyama is Chuck's penultimate Pokemon, and is once again too bulky to go down with one Psychic. I switch to Haunter, as with Levitate, Hariyama only has normal and ground moves to do damage with. Hariyama's Whirlwind fails, but that makes me realize I'm going to be here for a while, as every time Haunter attacks, she will then get switched out due to Whirlwind. Chuck gets a heal off to make this last even longer. I'm not actually trying to kill with Haunter. I'm trying to get Hariyama to use Whirlwind to give me a free switch to Starmie, as I want it out before the final Mon on Chuck's team. Eventually Starmie is dragged out, and at this HP can KO the Hariyama, bringing out the Hitmonlee last. One Protect to block the Fake Out, then once again outspeed and finish the fight with one last Psychic for the KO. See, didn't need Crobat after all. Immediately leaving the gym, I'm gifted the HM for Fly, which I guess is the most straightforward way to let me find this HM, and I take in the gift Pikachu who washed up on shore. This is a unique gift Pikachu who knows Surf and Wish. Sweet! With a new level cap of 40, I can finally get some of my starters leveled up to their full potential, including finally getting access to Infernape, who is amazing in almost any ROM hack. This helps make the Yucine fight after Suicune runs off pretty easy, but mostly because his team is a bit of a joke. Either being slow or not enough damage dealers, this becomes a very forgettable fight. What is memorable about this game is how Adriano made Team Rocket's storyline much more involved than the mainline games, as it is now mandatory after giving Jasmine the secret potion to go back to Cianwood to clear them out of the Safari Zone. All the fights leading up to the Safari Zone are double battles with all the trainers from the Platinum version as your tag battle partner. The majority of the fight's difficulty doesn't come from the grunts themselves, but from your AI partner not using useless moves instead of dealing much needed damage to the enemy team. When will conversion ever help you here? A single petrol fight amongst this double battle gauntlet almost causes another death. Almost, but still a victory. Now, since most of these tag battles are just grunts, it has been pretty easy to just push through them without much effort. The real boss battles start with a single battle against Executive Ariana. Her lead Arbok is easily taken down by Starmie, beating Vileplume. Charizard can quad resist the Petal Dance and take her down with 2 flamethrowers. Not being able to outspeed this Jinx going for Blizzard, I risk a crit with Infernape on the switch to then outspeed and KO with a flamethrower. Honchkrow is her final mon. I switch in Dusclops on a Brave Bird, which easily would have killed the crit to take some recoil, so that way I can switch into Raichu, dodging one last crit to KO with a Thunderbolt. The end of this section finishes with myself and Riley facing off against Executive Archer and one last grunt. Now, Riley, being ill-prepared, only has 3 mons for this fight, so I have to be careful if the enemy AI starts pinning down on his team hard. On turn 1, I take advantage of this by going for Swords Dance, while Zangoose one-hit KOs his Absol, and the Scyther's Fury Cutter does very little damage into my Infernape. Riley sends in Lucario, and now I can get the first KO with a close combat into Zangoose. Scyther does little with Bug Bite, and the Aura Sphere meant for Zangoose now goes into Scyther. Archer's Houndoom comes next, and like a novice, I forget Houndoom has Intimidate, lowering Infernape back to +1. This won't matter now, as a close combat can KO the Houndoom as well, all while Scyther sets up a double team and Lucario lands a super effective Blaze Kick. Archer sends out his last mon Gyarados for the second Intimidate, dropping Infernape's attack back to neutral. This is bad because now Thunder Punch isn't able to KO. I can't keep Infernape in, so I switch in my own Gyarados in for the Intim drop. Archer's Gyarados goes for the 2-turn bounce while Scythe keeps upping Invasion, and Lucario just doesn't care, landing another Blaze Kick. I don't want this Gyarados to start setting up with Dragon Dance after the bounce, so I switch in Swampert onto the bounce, which also paralyzes. This is basically a 1v1, as Scythe and Lucario are keeping each other busy. Going for Yawn with Swampert doesn't pay off as Gyarados goes for bounce again, causing the miss, while Lucario finally puts an end to Scyther, now bringing out Mawile. I figure Swampert can take another bounce, so as I click Yawn, Lucario goes for the kill with Aura Sphere and does take out the Mawile. Luckily bounce misses, but unluckily Swampert gets fully paralyzed. The Grunt's last mon is another Intimidator in Granbull. I keep with the strat of trying to put Gyarados to sleep and click Yawn once again. Lucario, being the absolute beast he is, outspeeds everyone and takes another clean KO with Aura Sphere. Gyarados does the dreaded Dragon Dance, but Yawn finally connects. Now in a 2v1, I switch into Gyarados as Archer's Serpent goes into the sky with bounce, only to fall asleep and come straight back down. On the first turn of sleep, I switch back to Infernape as Lucario chips with a Psychic. With one more sleep turn, a Thunder Punch seals the deal. As I said earlier, the difficulty of this game, I find, is not in the gym leaders, but actually in the Team Rocket fights, and this is not even the peak of difficulty yet. Defeating Team Rocket gives me access to the Safari Zone where I can claim my prize, and always a good Magnemite, giving me my first Steel type of the run. Welcome once again, Kyun. I also catch the buffed Farfetch on Route 48. He's been changed to a fighting flying type in this game, but his modest nature does not help at all. Now it's time to face off against Jasmine, the Steel type gym leader. The great thing about Steel types in Nuzlocke is that they are great to have on your team, and also easy to beat when facing off against when you have a Fire type. Infernape can KO her lead Metang and Skarmory with ease. When Bronzong comes in, it is too bulky for a one-hit KO, but Crawdaunt easily walls it instead. A taunt will prevent a Damp Rock Rain Dance, while he can whittle down the bell to the yellow with a Night Slash and Crab Hammer. Since Bronzong can't use Psychic, it's easy to switch back to Ape on a Gyro Ball to take the KO with another Flamethrower. Then proceed to sweep the rest of her team with a few more clicking of Flamethrowers. 6 gym badges in the bag. Before I leave Olivine City, I decide to trade away my Nidorino I caught previously to receive the gift Steelix from Jasmine. This is for 2 reasons. One is I think Steelix is a much better Pokemon for this box than Nidoking, as it provides another defensive Steel type, and 2, that since I completed a trade, I get a Covenant Orb, a special item in Sacred Gold that allows me to evolve a Pokemon that would usually only evolve via trading. You can get 1 orb every time you complete an in-game trade, which I have not done yet till now. Not sure if you can tell, but I have had a few trade Evo Pokemon in my box in need for this orb, but I will hold off until I absolutely need to evolve them. The downside is using my only TM on Nidorino. So no more thieving from wild Pokemon for me for a long time. With a new level cap and some more items accessible, I get some more evolutions to buff up the team. I also get my first Weather Setter in Hippopota from Route 42. Arriving in Mahogany Town, Riley thanks us for helping him by giving us another egg,
I offer you a nice egg.
which quickly hatches into our own Riolu. Moving to Lake of Rage, I fish up a Feebas, then move the plot along by obliterating the shiny Gyarados in the lake. Lance directs us back to town where we must clear out all of Team Rocket members in their not-so-hidden hideout. All the grunts here have basically the same team with Coughings, Raticates, Mucks, and Golbats, which I'm just easily clearing out until... I forgot that these Coughings know Explosion. Man, I really wanted to try out this fighting flying Farfetch'd. But moving past the stupid mistake, I must beat up Petrol disguised as Giovanni himself to get some information out of him, Mafia style. Skuntank and Raticate are easily dealt with early on, with Toxicroak needing some Intimidate drops before Swampert can get the KO with a few digs. Wheezing is just as annoying, getting a flinch on Swampert, preventing the yawn. I use Magnezone as a pivot to get Starmie in on a Fire Blast. A little scary, but otherwise riskless as usual for the KO with Psychic. Crowbot as his last mon gets easily walled by Magnezone to finish the beatdown. With Chatot opening the door, the last rocket fight of this hideout is another tag battle, this time against Executive Ariana with Lance as my partner. I lead with Starmie as Lance leads with the Dragonair. Wait, a Dragonair? Where is the Dragonite from earlier, Lance? Starmie can outspeed and one-hit KO the Arbok while Lance goes for a Dragon Pulse. Hypno does a little damage with Psybeam as Ariana sends out Honchkrow. I switch into Magnezone, who takes a resisted Dark Pulse that crits, while Dragonair whiffs a Thunder and Hypno does very little with Headbutt. Needing to kill his Honchkrow, and with the Steel type being amazing, I stay in hoping to KO with a Thunderbolt. Honchkrow Brave Birds into Dragonair luckily, causing massive recoil. Dragonair again whiffs another Thunder, all while Hypno sets up with a Meditate. With the recoil on Honchkrow, Magnezone can KO the Honchkrow and get some good recovery from the Shell Bell. Vileplume is Ariana's last mon, and hoping Dragonair hits into it, and knowing the AI should see the kill into Dragonair, I stay in. Dragonair finally does something and hits a Fire Blast doing half to Vileplume. Hypno keeps setting up being a little scary, and Magnezone's Flash Cannon just misses out on the KO, causing Vileplume to revenge kill the Dragonair. Lance sends out the much more threatening Aerodactyl, who I hope sees kill into the Vileplume. I switch Gyarados in, but Lance instead targets the Hypno. He gets the kill, but now Vileplume can recover some HP with Giga Drain, and the Grunt can send in the much more threatening Magnezone against both of our flying types. I need to switch, so I go into Steelix, and luckily Lance finishes off the Vileplume as Magnezone goes for a Magnet Bomb on Aerodactyl. Fire Fang from Arrow does good damage before going down to a second Magnet Bomb as I go for Dig with Steelix. Oh, did I forget to mention that Lance only brought 2 Pokemon to this fight? Luckily, it's a 1v1 now, but imagine if the Vileplume was still up just sapping away. The quad effective move Dig KOs the bulky Magnet, and with last mon being Muck, one more Dig seals the deal, clearing out the Rocket hideout. If there was ever a reason to give a player for wanting to beat Lance, this would be it, as he was actively sabotaging that tag fight by bringing terrible mons and not even a full team. To round out the adventure in Mahogany Town, I need to beat the town's Ice-type gym leader, Old Man Price. Ice-types luckily have loads of weaknesses, and we have such a full box that the line crafted is pretty simple. Price leads with the Bombasnow to set up the hail, but I went with leading Hippo down since my Hippo being slower will overwrite the hail with sand, nullifying any Snowcloak's mons in the back and reducing the accuracy of blizzards. I switched to Poliwrath, who avoids a blizzard, to then switch in the all-powerful Infernape on the now resisted Seed Bomb. In this position, with Infernape holding a Choice Band, can close combat to one-hit KO the Bombasnow, Dugong, Lapras, Mamoswine, as long as he doesn't click Ice Shard, which he doesn't, and Glalie. Frostlass is the last mon being immune to fighting type attacks, won't get aped, but that's why Magnezone is here to finish off the last with an Iron Plate boosted Flash Cannon. Another easy badge before what I think is the hardest battle section in the entire game. In Sacred Gold, Drayano has added a boss rush mode in Goldenrod to round out the Team Rocket storyline. Team Rocket has taken over Goldenrod Radio Tower, so I must go undercover to infiltrate and stop them. My arrival immediately reveals my disguise, defeating the whole purpose, but whatever, sneaking was never my forte. I first have to clear out some more grunts before I have to fight Petrol. Again, but this time a lot more easier to deal with. Next in line is another fight with our rival Algorithm at the basement of Goldenrod Tunnels. In preparation, I can finally get the evolution I've been waiting since before Bugsy. That's right boys, Ursus is finally here and ready to tear up this endgame. Time for another rival fight. Algorithm leads with Honchkrow, while I lead with my trusty Magnezone. A single discharge sends the bird flying and healing off the drill peck damage. Magnezone baits Magmar, but I can now finally introduce my own Garchomp. The Will-O-Wisp would be bad, but I put a Lumberry on just in case. A single dig clears out the Magmar and luckily no Flame Body proc. His ace for Alligator comes next, threatening the quad super effective Ice Fang. Magnezone can switch in to resist, but unluckily it gets the freeze. This is really bad. I needed Magnezone to take out this Feraligatr quickly, as he knows Swords Dance and is most likely to go for it without seeing a KO. I can't wait around hoping to thaw, or else he can keep setting up and start sweeping me. I decide to be proactive and switch into Crawdaunt, as Feraligatr does go for Swords Dance. With Shell Armor, I don't have to worry about crits and only need to focus on whittling this Gator down. The Gator goes for Swords Dance while a Night Slash does about a third. Gator finally goes for attack and Waterfall, bringing me down to the yellow, as my crit fishing doesn't work and leaves Feraligatr in the yellow as well. I can't leave Crawdaunt in, and at this HP, Feraligatr is seeing random move into me. My best option for a switch is in Garchomp, as long as it is not Ice Fang. I switch Garchomp in, and luckily just a crunch that also would have killed her with a crit. Garchomp can then stomp this monster Gator with a single Dragon Claw. Electabuzz comes out, and while I could KO with Garchomp again, I see that Hippo in the back can also KO and also set up the sand to help with some extra chip damage. Hippo comes in to set up the sand and takes not only one, but two Focus Blasts, triggering his Citrus and taking the KO with Earthquake. The speedy Alakazam comes to threaten Hippo with Energy Ball. Togekiss can come in to resist the attack and then absorb the Thunder Wave, heal with a Lum, and set up a Wish. I switch into Steelix on the Psychic, dealing a third, but getting all the HP back from the Wish. Alakazam's Energy Ball does about a third, but a single Crunch will take him down. Last is Gengar, and I know a Crunch will KO, but not before Gengar puts Steelix to sleep. All I can do is keep clicking Crunch and hope I have a short amount of sleep turns. The Giga Drain does about a third, and after Citrus, Steelix is just back to above half, but more importantly, Steelix wakes up on the second turn and lands the Crunch, bringing Gengar after Chip just to a sliver of HP. All he can do now is put Steelix back to sleep as Sand chips away Gengar's remaining HP. This is just the second boss battle here, and it's already tougher than the past few gym leaders. Before I continue, let's go over what lies ahead. After getting the keycard in the basement, and one more grunt defeated, the following Team Rocket bosses must be defeated to finish off Team Rocket for good. Executive Proton, Executive Ariana, then Executive Archer and Giovanni himself in a back-to-back. With the enemy team so close to level cap, I need to be very careful about which mons I bring and at what level, so I don't overlevel anyone during the fights. The back-to-back is especially scary, as I won't be able to change out any team members between fights. So if I lose a mon against Archer, I won't be able to replace them when against Giovanni. Let me show you what I cooked up for each of them. First is Proton, who leads with Electrode. I lead with Steelix, and as he sets up the rain, we KO with a dig. Camerupt is next, but my Kingdra... Sorry, I forgot to mention that I caught a Horsey way back on Route 41, but this is the only time you'll ever see her. Can take an Earth Power, then after Protect, KO with a Surf. Tauros comes in, and even a rain-boosted Surf is not enough to take down the bulky bull. I decide to pivot through Steelix in case of a takedown, and then into Hippo to set up the sand, and take an Earthquake that unfortunately crits. Tauros' takedown brings Hippo to the yellow, triggering his berry. God, I love citrus berries. Bringing him back to exactly half, as another Earthquake leaves Tauros at about a quarter. Not wanting to risk another crit, I switch back to Steelix on a weak takedown. With Steelix's massive defense, he can take Earthquakes quite well, but Proton healing Tauros is not what I wanted, as Crunch is not a 2-shot, and if I dig, Earthquake will deal double damage. All I can do is continue attacking with Crunch. An Earthquake brings Steelix down, but the berry will take him out of non-crit KO, as Crunch brings Tauros down to the yellow. Needing to avoid one more crit, Tauros goes for one more Earthquake, which fortunately does not crit. And while Crunch doesn't KO, the Sandstorm chip does finish him off for good. The fight's only halfway through though, as next in line is Cacturn. Starmie can come in on the Focus Blast, which of course crits again to give me a safer switch into Infernape on the less scary Needle Arm. A close combat takes care of Cacturn to now bait out Crobat. Magnezone is the best counter to this Crobat, as even though he has Heat Wave, only a max roll critical hit will kill. Heat Wave doesn't crit, but does get the burn, so maybe we were a little more dead to high roll crits than expected. Nevertheless, a Thunderbolt will get the one-hit KO on Crobat easily. Last is Weezing, who can't deal enough damage to Magnezone and can finish them off with a few Thunderbolts. Went in a little half-cooked here, so may have to give my lines a second look. Guarding the elevator to the top is Ariana, who leads with a Jinx, as I lead with Ape. Jinx has dry skin, which increases the amount fire damage does to her, meaning this flamethrower easily KOs Jinx from full health. Milotic comes in wanting to surf my monkey, but Poliwrath can switch in to absorb it entirely. Now, this Milotic's only attacking move is Surf, so it can only try and Toxic, but my Lumberry cures it immediately. I do a third with Body Slam, and while a Paralysis slows her down, it means her Marvel skill is active. I go for Body Slam again, doing next to no damage, but luckily she gets fully paralyzed. I take advantage of this positioning and go for a Belly Drum, maxing Poliwrath's attack as Milotic once again gets paralyzed. In this position, even a Marvel Skill Milotic at this HP won't survive Poliwrath's Drain Punch, getting the KO and most of her HP back. Vileplume comes in, but with max attack and outspeeding her, Poliwrath can chain kill with a single Ice Punch. Hodgecrow unfortunately does outspeed, so back to my trusty bird killer, Magnezone, who after being paralyzed, which can be done in Gen 4, takes the kill with a single Thunderbolt. Arbok switches in, baiting Earthquake, making it an easy choice to pivot through Charizard into Steelix on the now baited Gunk Shot. Earthquake does very little, and Crunch from Steelix does a little under half, making it easy for Charizard to come in and finish her off with a Choice Specs boosted Flamethrower. Purugly is Ariana's last chance as she goes and lands a Hypnosis. What she doesn't know is Lucario with a Lumberry counters her Fat Cat completely. A Wasted Protect is perfect as next turn, even though Hypnosis lands, the Lumberry removes the sleep and a single Aura Sphere blasts the cat away. The epic finale to the Rocket storyline is a 6 vs 12 back-to-back battle against Executive Archer and the surprise entrance of Giovanni. Sorry for spoiling a 15-year-old ROM hack, by the way. This means once I start the fight against Archer, my team of 6 must take down Archer's and Giovanni's team without me being able to switch team members or positions and items. I will get healed between fights, but if anyone goes down against Archer, then I cannot use them against Giovanni. This is, in my humble opinion, the toughest part of this ROM hack based on planning and what actually happens once the fight begins. Archer leads with Zangoose and I lead with Ape. Ape does what he does best and outspeed to get the one-hit KO with close combat. This baits out Gyarados, threatening with either Waterfall or Bounce. I switch into my own Gyarados for an Intimidate and see what Archer is going for. It is Bounce, which is great because now I can switch into Raichu on the resisted flying move. Raichu can now outspeed and take down the Gyarados. Drapion comes in about to Earthquake, but using Gyarados as another Intimidate pivot, Hippowdon can come in to take him out with Earthquake. Even a super effective Aqua Tail does very little damage after the Intimidate drop. Houndoom is here to intimidate Hippo, but Garchomp can switch in as Houndoom brings out the sun. Garchomp won't be able to one-shot as Houndoom does have a Focus Sash, so he does get off one Solar Beam. Just in case Archer heals again, I try to finish off with Dragon Claw, which does the job. Scizor is Archer's penultimate Mon, but once again Ape can come in and clean up with a sun-boosted Flamethrower. Last of Archer's team is Machamp, once again threatening Earthquake, but this time I bring in Togekiss and can use Choice Scarf Encore to lock it into Earthquake. Gyarados is supposed to clean up with a few Aqua Tails, but Archer has another Hyper Potion to use right when Encore ends. It's not terrible as I have to dodge a crit with Ape just to reset the Encore with Togekiss and go back into Gyarados. I make the safe play of Dragon Dancing once to ensure the next Aqua Tail guaranteed kills. Archer down with no deaths, but now in comes the Team Rocket boss himself. Let's see if these same 6 Mons can take down the OG crime boss of Pokemon. Giovanni leads with his signature Persian as Ape is still my lead. Persian goes for a Fake Out. By the way, that's non-technician damage, but on the next turn instead of Hypnosis, it goes for Slash, bringing Ape low as he takes the kill with close combat. This is an issue as when Nidoking comes in, I can no longer guarantee it's going to be Earthquake. I gamble as I switch in Togekiss, but unfortunately a Thunderbolt comes out into my flying type doing just over half. I can't Encore Thunderbolt as Togekiss will get blasted out of the sky, so I need to steer. I can't just switch in one of my 2 ground types as this Nidoking also has Ice Beam. To get back on track, I need to find a way to guarantee the Earthquake to get the Encore off. The only one who can do that is Raichu, so I bring her in, but with an Ice Beam instead of a Thunderbolt, that will lock in her fate. With Togekiss now at low HP, I need to recover some hit points, and this Raichu from the beach way back in Stanwood City has the move Wish. What can save me is Raichu outspeeding going for Wish, so that once she goes down to the Earthquake, I can bring Togekiss back in to lock in Earthquake and get back most of his HP from the Wish. This is exactly how I play it, saying goodbye to everyone's second favorite mouse. Raichu's death recovers a line to allow me to bring in Gyarados so he can start Dragon Dancing. He gets up to +4 in speed and attack before Encore does end, which means it's time to start attacking. Ice Fang KOs the Nidoking, and a wide lens boosted accuracy of Aqua Tail KOs the Rhyperior next. The Intimidate from Tauros, however, puts an end to the sweep as the KO is not guaranteed. I find a new line by going to Hippo, dodging a Stone Edge like a boss, then yawning as he takes a Double Edge. Garchomp can then come in, dodging a Double Edge as the Tauros falls asleep. Infernape can come in, and on the next turn, forgetting Tauros was faster, but stays asleep, KO the Tauros with another close combat. Nidoqueen can come in, creating better odds for an Earth Power over clicking Ice Beam. I want to see Earth Power so that my Togekiss can use Encore once again. If I KO'd with Garchomp, then Ice Beam is guaranteed, but Infernape gives me a chance for it to be Earth Power. And it is. That means I can lock it in again, switch to Gyarados, and start Dragon Dancing. Unfortunately, Encore ends while I'm only at +2, where I need +4 to KO Giovanni's last Mon. Luckily, Nidoqueen on Dragon Dance number 3 Toxics Gyarados. Then on number 4 goes for Protect. My heart skips a beat when Nidoqueen goes for the double Protect, but with a fail, Aqua Tail goes through. If Nidoqueen stalled long enough, Gyarados would have died to a Toxic and Sandstorm chip, but I don't have to worry about it at all. Kangaskhan is Giovanni's last Mon, but with nothing to protect it, one last Aqua Tail ends the brutal back-to-back. While I wish it was deathless, Raichu was the key sacrifice to get us through and finish off Team Rocket for good. After the Team Rocket storyline is finished, it's actually quite relaxing as I travel to Blackthorn City, avoiding some optionals and capturing some benchwarmers for the box, but I finally arrived. There's not much between us and the 8th gym leader, so let's just skip on ahead, as if you've been paying attention, you will know how this will play out. Claire leads with her signature unevolved Dragonair as I lead with Togekiss holding a Lumberry. This is because Togekiss being faster, I can use any move first as Dragonair tries to Thunder Wave her. The Lum will cure the paralysis so that next turn I can lock her into Thunder Wave, allowing me to switch into my GOAT Garchomp and get to work. With Dragonair encored into the useless Thunder Wave, Garchomp can set up 3 Swords Dances bringing her to +6 and start Dragon Clawing. With Garchomp's +speed nature, she can outspeed and one-shot both Dragonairs, Salamence, Altaria, Kingdra, and even after being lowered to +4 attack, can even one-shot her last pseudo-dragon Gyarados. So, of course, Claire is upset that I'm the better dragon tamer and forces me to get the Rising Badge in Dragon's Den, where I can also pick up the gift Dragonair with Marvel Scale and Extreme Speed. Suck it, Claire. With all 8 Johto badges, there's just some minor story beats to finish up. First is the gauntlet against the Kimono Girls in Ecruteak City. There are 8 girls in total, each having an evolution which I must beat, which sounds intense, but with Drain Punch, Water Absorb, Poliwrath able to recover HP almost each fight, it was really nothing notable. Next is to Thunder Punch Ho-Oh out of the sky. Yeah, no legendaries in my runs. Even the Kimono Girls can't believe I gave up the legendary encounter. Last to do is one more rival fight before the Elite Four. He has a full team with diversity, but they are all pretty low in defenses, only risking 1 crit against Garchomp, but no worries here. And with that, I am at the Pokemon League thanks to my teammates and you, the viewer, for watching all these videos. Feel free to comment and subscribe. It keeps me motivated to keep showing you these Pokemon challenges. Now, Sacred Gold takes a page out of Gen 5's book and makes it that I can challenge any of the Elite Four members in any order, allowing for more strategic planning once inside. Looking at what I'm up against, I'm pretty chilled out to be honest. After the intense planning of the back-to-back Giovanni, playing for 5 individual fights where I can heal, switch items, and switch leads between each fight is much more sustainable. I calc for some time and look at some of my heavy hitters in the box and come up with the following team. Leading off is Grook, the Infernape. A fast, mixed attacker will be a great sweeper against many of the dark and bug types here. Next is Ursus the Garchomp, one of the earliest catches but a late bloomer who has already shown her strength in the last 2 splits alone. On the defensive side is Kuhn, the Magnezone. Always a great mon, especially with the pre-Gen 5 steel nerfs, and can bait ground moves for the next team member. Joining the team is the setup specialist Lystone the Togekiss, only here to do one thing, which is set up Encore, but goddamn will he be ever useful. To round out the team, I'm bringing Galmadar the Steelix. His super high defense and perfect IVs from being traded make him an excellent defensive wall. And lastly, using my only Covenant Orb, I will be evolving and bringing Dracnus, the Gengar. 3 immunities and a versatile moveset will be a pivotal counter to the Psychic member Will. Every time I get to these Elite Four doors, it's always a bit thrilling, as I know I will come out of these fights without a scratch or bloody and broken. The feeling never gets old, and I will always enjoy the excitement each and every time. Time to let it rip. Past Zach can take it from here. Just second check yesterday, and that's when I found out the difference, and I had to change my line a bit. This is gonna be easy. I'll describe the strategy as we go along. Alright, so Elite Four Will. Psychic types, still pretty decent in this generation. They send out Jinx. We lead with our Infernape. Now this Jinx, even though it's plus speed, this Infernape is so goated that we outspeed by 2 points. With not even like a plus speed nature with this Infernape. And because this Jinx is dry skin, Flamethrower just one-shots. We get the level up on both Infernape and on Garchomp that we just put the XP share on. Now, if the calc is right, Gardevoir. Okay, so the calc is more right than what I was calculating. I thought it was Slowbro first, which is fine. This is actually fine. So, here's what we're going to do. So I was going to hard switch to Steelix, because Steelix actually walls this, but I want to go in on a Thunderbolt that this Gardevoir might use against me. So what we're going to do is I'm going to switch into Togekiss first. Togekiss takes a Psychic like a champ. Get a Citrus Berry in case this does crit. It does not. Now it's going to go for Thunderbolt. We get a free switch into Steelix. Yep. Takes on the Thunderbolt. And now Steelix just basically two-shots this with Crunch. Well, not anymore, unfortunately, with Reflect, but that's fine. Reflects up, let me mark that off. But it doesn't matter because we crit! Alright, going off with a bang, that's amazing. Slowbro comes out, alright, just expect. So, I want to come in on a Flamethrower against with my Gengar. So what I need to do is I need to pivot around a bit. Come on, go surf, go surf, go surf. Okay, good, good. Ooh. So we live that crit no matter what. The problem is now I don't know what it's going for. That is actually really bad. That's really, really bad. Like basically what I need to do, I need to switch in Gengar. If I switch in the Gengar on a Psychic, I'm dead. If I switch it on a Surf, I live a non-crit. If I switch on a Flamethrower, Flamethrower is great. If it amnesias, that's really bad as well. Fuck. It crit on the worst fucking possible turn. Okay. Fuck, that crit fucked me. And I was doing Lumberry because I was worried about like a Hypnosis or something. Why did I give this fucking thing a Lumberry? I think I will take the bait. I'll take the chance with Steelix. Steelix is only important near the end, and that one's pretty. And Steelix is not as important. Steelix is kind of like the last ditch effort. And if because then now I just need to dodge a Surf. And then if I get the Surf, then okay, fine. Steelix goes down, I get a free switch in a Gengar, and I recover the line. Okay. I'm glad I didn't switch to Gengar. I'm very glad I didn't switch to Gengar. The question is, do I risk the crit again onto Gengar? Or do I make this a completely fine line? Basically, I'm risking a crit, right? You know what? I think I'm gonna do it. Gengar, you gotta hold. Okay, come on. Don't crit. Don't crit on me. Don't crit. Don't crit. Yeah! Deathless. Okay, let's go. Shadow Ball. I'm Choice Specs. Fucking make sure I'm Choice Spec. Oh my god. Lunatone comes out. We just keep sweeping. That was rough. Gengar's just cleaning up now. Now this Xatu does have a Citrus Berry. And, you know, I would be more scared of speed, but this is for some reason Dre made this guy a plus attack minus speed nature Xatu. This thing does a minimum 176% damage. And that's the first one. Oh my god, going off with a fucking bang. Will's down. Yep, there's Bruno. Okay. This one should hopefully be easy. Alright. So this one's more of a setup strategy. Bruno's gonna lead with a very abusable Hitmontop coming out first. So we have our Togekiss. So Togekiss is actually faster, which is nice. Basically, what this Hitmontop's going to want to do is, I don't know what exactly it's going to do yet. I really didn't look too much into the attack AI, but I have a feeling it's going to fake out. If it basically this thing goes counter, fake out, high jump kick, and sucker punch, right? So basically, counters, counters not going to be a big deal. I'm hoping it's going to fake out. If it sucker punches, that's also fine. And high jump kick, I have a focus sash just in case it does that. But either way, I think we're going to do is because I'm faster. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Because I'm faster, I'm going to protect. First turn. If it fake outs me, I don't protect. And if it does fake out... Sorry, if it fake outs me, it doesn't hit. And if it high jumps kicks, it just crashes, which is fine. And then Ooh, no, but if it crashes, I don't want it to... Well, it's okay if it crashes. That's fine. I plan for Togekiss to take one high jump kick anyway, so that's not a big deal then. So let's protect once and see what he goes for. Okay, that's fine. Because now it's probably going to go high jump kick now. But because we're faster, we're going to encore it into fake out. If it encores into sucker punch, that's also fine. Now, how much PP is fake out? I think it's 10, right? It's 10. Okay, cool. It's actually really good. Because now it's just stuck in fake out. We're just going to switch to Infernape and start setting up. Yeah, it's just going to keep using fake out, so I got to keep track of the turns. +2. Fuck. Is that enough? Okay, that's enough. Good. Now, because we have a Shell Bell, we recover in case this thing does decide to Sucker Punch. It doesn't have a Focus Sash or anything. Go back to Hitmontop. Yep. So at +4, we just sweep with Close Combat. If this thing counters, it's fine. If it Sucker Punches, it's also fine because I just do, we just recover all the damage. Yep, it's probably going for counter or high jump kick. I don't know. All right, -1. -1. Hitmonlee comes out because it sees Blaze Kick. And Earthquake is doing super effective. Even though this thing's plus speed, we still just outspeed it. Now, because I don't want to lose any more defense drops, a Thunder Punch actually does kill here at +4. Because I gotta be careful of this Machamp in the back. So we're just gonna Thunder Punch. This is one of the things that Ape does best at, is just fast sweep. Alright. Ooh, I did not see this. But this should be fine. So Lucario, I just saw, has actually extreme speed. So I will also just Close Combat again. Thunder Punch, unfortunately, does not outright kill. And neither does Flamethrower. Very, very unfortunate. Flamethrower has 75% chance. I'm not going to risk it. So just going to Close Combat again. Let's see if an Extreme... So Extreme Speed, the toppest of high rolls, crit high rolls of Extreme Speed kill. But it should see Guarantee Psychic as a kill instead. So go for Close Combat. Yep, doesn't even go Extreme Speed because it sees Psychic as a one-hit KO. We're getting Infernape as high, as much XP as we can. Now we got Hitmonchan. So at +4, this thing has plus attack, has no priority moves, its defense sucks, and Thunder Punch just kills to keep keep our defenses from being lowered too much from this in close combat. Yep, that's nice. So Machamp, Bruno's ace Pokemon comes out next. It's seen like, you know, Dynamic Punch, Stone Edge, things like that. Now, even at -2, Bullet Punch does not even fucking kill Infernape. That's how much of a goat he is against these priority moves. But he should see Dynamic Punch as a kill. Obviously, we're faster. We're just gonna close combat. Bruno's fighting types is being defeated by the much superior fighting type. And finally, we have Hariyama. Focus Punch kills outright, so it's probably gonna go for that. It's not gonna, even if it tries to substitute, it doesn't matter. We're faster. We just one hit KO with close combat. And that's Bruno. All right, there we go. 2 down, 3 to go. All right, Koga. Poison types. We have Garchomp for that, but before we bring up Garchomp, we gotta do a little bit of preparation. So Venomoth, you know, comes in, you know, got buffed, Bug Psychic, got, you know, huge special attack, has Poison Heal, all sort of crap, right? We don't care about any of that. Infernape is faster and just one-shots with Flamethrower. All right. Now, this baits in the one and only, yep, baits in Tentacruel. Now, Tentacruel probably wants to go for Waterfall, maybe Poison Jab, maybe he wants to Swords Dance, I don't know. It really doesn't matter. We're just going to switch into Garchomp. If it Swords Dances, that might be a problem, but we'll see what happens. That's a bit of a problem. It's not a big deal. We're just going to Swords Dance once ourselves, because this Waterfall and Poison Jab still don't kill. So the question is, a crit Waterfall from this Tentacruel now kills. Do I think it's going to Swords Dance? Let me just take a quick look at the Gen 4. I need one more Swords Dance, and then this is going to be a pretty easy sweep. I think this thing's going to go for Swords Dance again, because it doesn't see a kill, and I'm at 60% more HP, so it's more likely to go for the kill, to go Swords Dance again. So I think I'm okay just to Swords Dance myself. I'm faster. Even if the thing protects, it doesn't matter. And yeah, I'm risking one crit, but I dodge those. I dodge those. You know, I have Shell Armor. You know, until I get crit, everything has Shell Armor, right? Oh, and that's even better. Okay. Nice. Now we just sweep. So let's, yeah, Clear Body, no Toxic or anything. We're just gonna start off with a Dragon Claw. Yep. Now comes in Muck. Let's just Earthquake. Get the one shot. All right, next should be, so this one's a little more tricky, dicky. Yeah, Crobat. So Crobat, unfortunately, is faster than me and can double team. Now, Brave Bird, basically tippy top, you know, highest roll of crit Brave Bird kills me. So if this thing decides to double team, I can just keep spamming Dragon Claw for the KO. And if this thing doesn't go for double team and it goes for like Brave Bird or something, then okay, cool, whatever. Like I just gotta survive. It has to crit, and then it also has to like highest roll crit. You know, natural 20 crit has to roll. So I'm gonna risk it for now. Worst case, we have other things to move things around, but because we're basically done with the majority of the threats of the team. All right, double team. That's fine. Okay. Let's try again. There we go. Like I said, like double. This is why I know double team sounds like a good strat, but like you just need to hit once and it's over. And now everything else is fine. This Toxic Croak might want to Sucker Punch. Who knows? We're just gonna Earthquake it. This Earthquake, by the way, does 425 to 502% damage on this Toxic Croak. Like 5 times over. Oh, and it's a fucking crit. Literally 10 times over, most likely. Wheezing to finish it off. Dragon Claw just one-shots. Nice. That's Koga. Karen, last of the Elite Four, then Lance. Alright, Karen. Dark types. She leads with the Mightyena. And then I'm going to lead with Gengar. You're asking, like, why am I leading on Gengar? He's a ghost type. He's going to get fucking, hit by whatever. So this Mightyena actually, for one, Gengar takes Intimidate. That's one reason why it comes out. Second reason, this Mightyena has a shit moveset. Attract, Super Fang, Sucker Punch, and Fire Fang. Sucker Punch always one-hit KOs Gengar here. And that's why I brought him. I want to bait Sucker Punch as I switch into, you guess it, Togetic. Sorry, Togekiss. That's not ideal. Why did it not go Sucker Punch? What? It's like 133% damage. If I get burned by this Fire Fang, I'm fucking screwed. Ooh. Okay, change of plan. We're steering. We're steering with this one. Alright, so original plan was Infernape was gonna come in and you know what? I think I'm gonna have to kind of keep this, stay on the line actually with Infernape. There's a higher, like, Sucker Punch I guess does less damage against Infernape, but I'm gonna take more damage from the Fire Fang. And I don't have a Lumberry to set off the burn if that happens. I think I'm gonna have to steer a bit and just go to Garchomp. So I just gotta avoid burns. Just gotta do this twice. That's one. Alright, that's good. This is two. This is all I need. Good, no crit and no burn. Okay. Yeah, fastest thing is Houndoom, and that's fine. Alright. So let's just start sweeping. I don't want to see Sucker Punch. Okay, good. I don't know why this AI is not incentivized to use Sucker Punch then. Alright, Absol. So Absol is the next one that has Sucker Punch. Yep. Why is this AI not incentivized to use Sucker Punch? Like, it's just giving away free damage. Or it's just leaving free damage on the table. Spirit Tomb also has pressure, yada yada yada. We don't care. We're just gonna Earthquake. Now we have Umbreon. Now, even though this Umbreon is, like, incredibly defensive, Garchomp at +4 just does not care. It doesn't even bother to protect. It's probably going for Toxic or Double Team or something. Garchomp just ripping through. Garchomp and Infernape just ripping through this E4. And Gengar, technically, yeah. Alright. Houndoom comes in, even with this Intimidate, which I think is coming in. 300%. For 378% minimum for Earthquake kill. Yeah, and I'm faster, like. Alright, that's Karen. Nice. Nice. Let's save just in case. One for what, who knows it'll be last time. I think it'll go well. So, we got Gyarados. Once again, Gengar takes Intimidate. We don't care. We are faster. No priority moves. We are just going to Thunderbolt this thing till it dies. Well, when I say till it dies, after this one hit. Now, when I was rechecking the calculator, I thought that like Charizard or Dragonite was going to come out. Like, I was doing the whole calculation and everything. Turns out Aerodactyl comes out. I think because of Torment. That sees a super effective move. I guess. I thought it doesn't do that anymore, but I'm wrong. So either way, this Aerodactyl gets basically walled by Magnezone. Yep, goes for Stone Edge. That's fine. I don't want this thing setting up Tailwind. I really, really don't. And so I can take another hit. That's not a big deal. But with this Thunder Wave, when I Thunder Wave this thing, I actually become faster than this Aerodactyl. So I'm just going to Thunder Wave it. In case it does Tailwind this turn. And that's why I wanted to put on Protect, because on Protect I can stall out the Tailwinds. So let's just Thunder Wave first, see what it goes for. Yeah, so I went for Stone Edge, that's fine. Even if this thing crits, it's not going to KO, and I actually prefer it to crit because it triggers my Citrus Berry. Oh well. We Thunder Wave it nice. It's now slower than us. Now, assuming it's not going to switch on me, Thunderbolt is just going to KO. Yeah, Aerodactyl now down. And now it baits out Garchomp, his own Garchomp. Gengar can usually just come in and one-hit KO with Icy Wind, but Icy Wind can miss. I don't want to risk that. So I'm just going to send in Togekiss instead to do what she always does. And click the one move that she's only good for. Or he's only good for. Yep, exactly like that. Let me just confirm. Choice Scarf, hell yeah. We're just going to click Encore. Now this thing doesn't have any Mold Breaker ability or anything like that. Yep, just going to say Earthquake. When I found out Gengar can just freaking learn Icy Wind. And without any Mold Breaker, we just ignore the EQ altogether. And now, all I need is one hit, and we'll be okay. Which we hit. Alright, awesome. Now, which Dragonite is it? It's level 61, yep. So, Icy Wind does not KO from here, unfortunately. Yeah, I think this is going to go for Outrage. It's a guaranteed kill. This is why we brought the Steelix, the Wall. Because Steelix, when I was looking at this thing, like Steelix basically walls this Dragonite with how much defense it has. Now, obviously, if it gets out of Outrage early, that's a bigger problem, and then I might be going for Earthquake. But let's see what it goes from here. Yep, it's going for Outrage. So it's locked into Outrage now. Now we have a Shell Bell because this Ice Fang is just going to continually heal us. Nice, that's one Ice Fang. Yep, it's going to heal a Citrus Berry, that's fine. As long as we don't see a Confusion, this will be good. Yep, we heal a little bit with a Shell Bell. Okay. So it's probably going to go for Earthquake. It might go for Roost. It's definitely not going to go. So this is why Togekiss is also really good. Because basically, once again, Togekiss with Choice Scarf, I can lock it into Roost or Earthquake. Whichever of my choosing. On whether it's a Roost or an Earthquake. Ooh, that's actually a problem. Well, actually, no, wait, hold on. It's probably just going to go for Wing Attack or Outrage. So I just push back. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. It's either the Citrus Berry, that's not a big deal. Now, whether it goes for Roost again or Earthquake will be fine. It's like the most damage. Ooh, that's fine, because I can just Encore it into Roost. No? Oh shit. Oh, thank God. Okay. Just get out of Confusion. Jesus. That's an interesting combo. I didn't think about that. Okay. Alright, finally out of Confusion. Going for Outrage again. That's fine. Steelix takes Outrages. Alright, it's probably going to go for a heal turn. So let's go for another Ice Fang. Alright, alright. Alright, now it's Charizard. Now, obviously it's going for a killing move. This is where Wide Lens Garchomp comes in, because Garchomp basically walls Charizard's entire moveset. Even this thing crits, it's not a crit kill. So, because of Wide Lens, Rock Slide is now like basically a 99% chance to kill. So we're just going to do that. Yep. 1 TM, 1 item just for this one Mon. Alright, alright, we're on to the last Mon. Yep, you're right. So, now, Blizzard, this is the special Dragonite. Blizzard and Draco Meteor both kill. This is where I was thinking about where I'm going to have to steer a bit. Unfortunately, Garchomp at Dragon Claw does not KO from here. Very, very unfortunate. But Magazone can come in on the Draco or Blizzard. Hopefully Draco to get that special. Yep, there we go. That's better. We take the damage. It gets the special defense drop. Yep, no crit. That's good. Nice, nice, nice. That thing is a specially defensive one. That's also why we put the Citrus on. So obviously, crit. This thing also knows Fire Blast. It can crit. So here's the question. What do we do now? So we're going to take the risk. Remember, all Pokemon have shell armor until they get crit. Gengar comes back in. Alright, Fire Blast, that's right. We also have to get bank on Fire Blast also hitting as well. Yep, no crit. So now, basically any crit's going to kill me. And all I need to do is hit one Icy Wind. 90%. 90%, guys. We've hit one already. Let's see if we can hit it again. And that's Sacred Gold Elite 4. Deathless. Woo! That was good. A lot of risking crits there. But man, does he get the blood pumping. That was good, past Zach. Deathless Elite 4 on first attempt of Sacred Gold is impressive. But what if I can take it all the way? In any other game, this would be the end. But as many of you know, the Gen 2 games have a whole entire post-game in Kanto that is typical to complete on any hardcore playthrough, and I'm not one to skip it. I know the story has been long, but we've made it this far, and if I can make it through the torment that is Kanto, so can you. So, here's how Sacred Gold's post-game is modified from the original. Instead of a weird sporadic order of gym leaders with level caps all over the place, Draiano has done the player a great change by organizing the fights in order as they were in Kanto, starting with Brock and ending with Blue. The level caps are now more in sync, increasing after each fight, but not by much. Draiano really turns this more into a boss rush than anything else, as there is no real story beats between each gym. And, to be honest, I have so many strong Pokemon in my box that the fights were really not an issue. Let's lock in. Brock was a walk in the park, if that park was full of rocks that quivered to the sight of a cottonweed. Choice Specs Jump Left with Giga Drain can KO his lead Almastar, Magazone can one-hit KO the Sudowoodo, then Jump Left can come in on Golem's Earthquake to continue the slaughter of the rest of Brock's team up to Onix, where after switching around to break the Focus Sash, Gengar can finish off with a Shadow Ball. There is one last rival fight in Mount Moon, but it ended not with a bang, but a whimper. And I also caught a Clefairy, will be important shortly. Misty is a little different. Before fighting her, I catch the second notable encounter in Kanto at Chinchou on Route 10, as with Volt Absorb she can help deal with Misty's many electric moves. Against Misty, Hippo can overwrite the rain by being slower than her Toad, then Poliwrath can absorb the Hydro Pump she is switching into. It's at this point I learn a valuable lesson of Switch AI in Gen 4. Since I used Drain Punch on my last turn, Misty can now switch into one of her Pokemon in the back that resists fighting type moves and also has a super effective move against my Poliwrath. This is a common Gen 4 switch logic which I will remember and abuse for later. Right now, Misty has her Starmie out, so I switch in the new Lantern to take a Psychic, and then after taking a non-crit Psychic, can KO with a Thunderbolt. Golduck can get taken out by the ever-competent Magazone, bringing Politoed back, setting up the rain again. Poliwrath absorbs the Hydro Pump so that Hippo can come in to reset the sand, but take a nasty Ice Beam. Just like the start, Poliwrath comes back in on the Hydro Pump, and with Drain Punch can do enough damage that Sandstorm Chip finishes the frog off. With Misty's Lantern out, now begins the stall, as with Volt and Water Absorb, I can stall out all of Misty's Lantern Surf and Thunder PP till she switches into Vaporeon. This is probably because she has no more Thunder PP left to hit my Lantern. I would like to say this match was tense, but it really just dragged on, with her baton passing to Lapras, me once again using Poly and Lantern to stall out water and electric moves. I tried to use Clefable Encore to set up Dragonite to speed things up, but Vaporeon's Attract and Acid Armor just stall us out even more. I finally get an Encore off on Acid Armor to allow Dragonite to finally set up and put this battle out of its misery. Now onto Surge, but I have a Choice Scarf and a Garchomp, so let's just skip past this gym. Janine, the daughter of Koga taking over the Fuchsia City gym, also gets wrecked by the Chomp after a single Swords Dance setup, then earthquaking her entire team. Erica is just as laughable as Surge, with Choice Specs Ape burning through her entire team. Sabrina is only slightly more difficult, as Choice Specs Gengar can rip through her first 4 Mons before Alakazam comes out, outspeeding my Ghost Girl. That's where Cronut can come in, nullify the Psychic, then Beta Signal Beam so that Beedrill, hey, remember him? Can switch in. Okay, now Beedrill can come in and not get confused to outspeed with a Scarf to one-shot the Alakazam. Then it's pivot through Cronut on a Zen Headbutt into Gengar on a high jump kick to do one last Shadow Ball. I do catch a Snorlax, not to use, but just to grab the only leftovers I was able to get the entire game. Next is Blaine, now relegated to Seafoam Island, where he... Okay. I beat this down enough. Garchomp is OP, okay? Even without EVs, this Garchomp just rips through so many of the gym leaders in late game. I'll get on with it and go straight to Blue. Blue's team is significantly more difficult, as his team doesn't consist of just one type, so I can't just use 1 or 2 Mons to sweep through. But it doesn't mean I can't use my regulars. Garchomp can open and one-shot Blue's Nidoqueen, bringing in Blue's Gyarados. My Dragonite can come in resisting the Aqua Tail, then outspeed in one-shot with a Thunder Punch. Tyranitar comes in to set up Sand, but Magnezone can switch in on the resisted Stone Edge. Magnezone is baiting, you guessed it, Earthquake, so I can freely switch in Gengar and then take the KO with Choice Specs Quad Super Effective Aura Sphere. Executor is brought in, meaning Magnezone can once again switch in on a resisted Psychic, then outspeeding KO with his Signal Beam. Rhyperior comes into, do I need to spell it out again? Earthquake, so an Intimidate pivot through Gyarados can let me bring Swampert in on a weak Stone Edge, then take another Quad Super Effective KO with Surf. Last is Blue's Machamp, which is a bit scary as I don't know if he will guarantee go for a fighting move. I switch in Gengar, but am relieved he does, and one more Psychic ends the battle and the last gym leader in Kanto. With 16 badges under my belt, Professor Oak grants me access to Mount Silver, where my final battle awaits. As I assemble my final team and scale Mount Silver, I have some time to reminisce about my journey in Sacred Gold, and that through the Kanto section, I wasn't having fun like before. It was okay at first, sweeping through Brock right after a tough Elite Four, but after Missy, the fights just weren't challenging. 1 Mon sweeps was set up, or attaching a choice item and sweeping was just boring. I don't play Nuzlocks because it's a niche category to get views on YouTube or Twitch, or even for my own ego. I do them because they are a fun way to play Pokemon. I know Sacred Gold is considered easier than Run and Bun or the Kaizo games, but I was having fun with the challenge. The excitement of catching new team members. The steers when something goes wrong. The changes made to a generation of Pokemon I grew up with. When I was watching Pichao and Flygon HG do their Run and Bun streams, I enjoyed the excitement from their battles, but I could see that the planning was not fun for them. It's the terrible mindset of the grind of playing to a game that is actively sabotaging you, but you feel you have to keep going on. For them, as full-time content creators, they have to do it because that's what the audience wants. But for me, I don't want to be in a position to do that, which is just a hobby for me. I think the online space has become so saturated with gaming content that we need constant challenge streaks for any audience to be maintained, which over longer periods of time leads to impossible challenges. Nuzlocking itself used to be considered incredibly hard to complete, even with items in battle. Then it became easier, so people did it without items. They added dupes clauses, no legendaries. Then there's no EVs, no setups, until we get to a point where ROM hack creators have to actively sabotage the player in what tools they are allowed to have. It eventually starts to feel that these ROM hacks are forcing the player to slam their head against the wall until either the game or the player breaks. I don't want that. While a lot of these games appeal to niche players, I just want us to remember why we play these games from the beginning. For fun. As I reach red, I don't think about whether my calculation was completely right or if my team is optimal. Only that I want this last battle to be fun. Red leads with his signature Pikachu as I lead with Garchomp, who with a single Earthquake takes out the mouse. Blastoise comes in threatening Blizzard, but Poliwrath takes it like a champ. Since the AI hasn't determined which ability Poliwrath is, they click Hydro Pump into Poliwrath, giving me free HP as I go for maximum damage with Drain Punch. Now, based on my fight with Misty, I know that either Espeon or Venusaur can switch in, since they both resist Drain Punch. So instead I go for Waterfall as I was right and Venusaur switches in. Maybe Ice Punch was the better play, but the chip is still good. I switch Infernape in on a resisted Power Whip, then using U-turn for extra chip to switch Gengar in on the Earthquake. Gengar Psychic can take down the Venusaur, bringing in Espeon. Kyun is the perfect counter as it resists all of Espeon's moves and can shake off Hail with leftovers. Espeon does set up Reflect as a Signal Beam drops him into the yellow. I forget about the Switch AI possibility as Charizard comes in as I stupidly Protect. Luckily, Gyarados can take whatever Charizard dishes out, which is a resisted Focus Blast. I switch between Gyarados and Magnezone protecting while out to allow for Hail to chip down Charizard till low enough that when I send out Garchomp, who luckily dodges a Focus Blast crit, a Rock Slide will KO once Reflect wore off. Back comes Blastoise and once again, Poliwrath can counter the turtle. Going for another Drain Punch will cause the AI switch once again on the next turn, so as Red switches in Espeon, the Waterfall can take out the Psychic Cat for good. Snorlax is Red's tank, but with Drain Punch Poliwrath doing just under half, it's easy to just stay in and recover HP while dealing decent damage. Even a Rest Chesto set isn't enough as Hail helps chip away between punches till finally Poliwrath ends Snorlax with nearly full HP. Blastoise comes out once more, where after a fake out, Red uses a full restore to prolong the inevitable. Even a second full restore is used as Poliwrath is losing PP on Drain Punch. I do one switch to get HP back on Poliwrath from Hydro Pump, as after taking another weak Signal Beam, Poliwrath finally ends it with a critical hit, Rock Climb. As I watch the credits roll, I'm not sad that it's over, but happy that I completed the challenge. There were points in this playthrough that I definitely felt like I wasn't having fun due to the sheer length of the game, but every game has those moments. I also have to remember that these ROM hacks are passion projects by talented developers who do this for the love of Pokemon and want to share their love through these games for everyone to play. Nuzlocking wouldn't be as popular without creators like Troiano making games for us players to enjoy. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm sorry for taking so long for this to get out. I think my next few projects will be a bit shorter timeline, but I'll see, because life does happen. I thank you all, and I hope to see you in the next one.